The Asylum's Dracula, the original living vampire, gets a poster and trailer. Sony may have decided to push back the release of its Marvel movie Morbius to April, but the Asylum is pushing full steam ahead with its plans to drop its latest mockbuster knockoff cash-in Dracula, the original living vampire, this month. Check out the official poster and trailer for the film, which follows Detective Amelia Van Helsing as she searches for the killer responsible for a string of murders of young women. Detective Amelia Van Helsing is on the desperate hunt for the killer responsible for a string of grisly murders targeting young women. Matters only worsen when all evidence leads to the seemingly untouchable Count Dracula. And when Van Helsing's girlfriend vanishes, she is forced to question the very existence of monsters in a final showdown with the enigmatic Count. Dracula, the original living vampire, stars Michael Ironside as Dr. Jack Seward, Jake Herbert as Count Dracula, Christine Prouty as Amelia Van Helsing, India Davies as Meena Murray, and Ryan Woodcock as Jonathan Harker. Slapface trailer movie reveals a young boy who befriends a terrifying monster. Shudder just released the official trailer for their original movie Slap, which will premiere on broadcast tape on 3rd February. Telling the story of a bullying boy who gets head over heels when he begins a dangerous friendship with a brutal creature, this indie horror movie is directed by a rookie horror filmmaker, Jeremiah Capan, and the stars August Macheroan, Mike Manning, and Dan Hedaya, Mirabel Leon, Lucas Hasselland, Libby Baron, Bianca D'Ambrosio, and Chiara D'Ambrosio. The trailer goes straight into action as young Lucas Matoro is attacked by several bullies, while an older man explains to Lucas' older brother and caretaker that their late mother will be disappointed in young Lucas. Lucas and his brother seem to be playing a game where they hit each other. Soon, Lucas has a spooky but somewhat endearing showdown with a ghostly figure covered in a shawl of some sort. As the trailer progresses, it appears as if Lucas has become friends with the character, with somewhat violent results. Slapface originated as a short film directed by Kip, which ended up running for 2 years. The only major plot difference between the short and the movie is that Lucas' older brother's character was his father, in a nutshell. The virtual movie had its world premiere last March at the Cinequest Film Festival, where it earned the honor of being the only horror film to be included in the festival's top 7 blockbuster films. He also won the Best Audience Award for Best Horror Thriller Sci-Fi at the same festival. Shudder just released the official trailer for their original movie Slap, which will premiere on broadcast tape on 3rd February. Telling the story of a bullying boy who gets head over heels when he begins a dangerous friendship with a brutal creature, this indie horror movie is directed by a rookie horror filmmaker, Jeremiah Capan, and the stars August Macheroan, Mike Manning, and Dan Hedaya, Mirabel Leon, Lucas Hasselland, Libby Baron, Bianca D'Ambrosio, and Chiara D'Ambrosio. The trailer goes straight into action as young Lucas Matoro is attacked by several bullies, while an older man explains to Lucas' older brother and caretaker that their late mother will be disappointed in young Lucas. Lucas and his brother seem to be playing a game where they hit each other. Soon, Lucas has a spooky but somewhat endearing showdown with a ghostly figure covered in a shawl of some sort. As the trailer progresses, it appears as if Lucas has become friends with the character, with somewhat violent results. Shudder distributes the film in many other countries on top of the United States, including the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Australia. Shudder is a mainstay of indie horror cinema, releasing several unique horror titles exclusively every month. At the top of the slapsum of the original Shudder assets that will drop in February include period horror All Moons, a supernatural shock They Live in Grey, Darling Festival Hellbender. Slap shows premieres at Shudder on 3rd February. Robert Pattinson offers his take on Batman's no-kill rule. One of the hottest topics of discussion among the DCU fandom at the moment is Batman's no-kill rule, and it's had absolutely nothing to do with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's upcoming reboot. Instead, the debate has stemmed from the latest episode of James Gunn and John Cena's Peacemaker, after the titular antihero unloaded both barrels on his elderly neighbor, blasting the Dark Knight's decision to let his adversaries live, only so they can escape and cause the exact same kind of havoc all over again. It was certainly an interesting point, even if it did call into question for the umpteenth time whether or not Ben Affleck's canonical Caped Crusader had left a trail of lifeless bodies in his wake during Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. In an interview with Premiere, Pattinson has offered his own personal take on Batman's pledge to never take another life, explaining that the nocturnal vigilant gets his kicks from reveling in the violence of his double life, without actually having to venture into outright murderous territory. There is this rule with Batman: he must not kill. It can be interpreted in two ways. Either he only wants to inflict the appropriate punishment, or he wants to kill, and his self-control prevents him from doing so. I imagined it that way from the rehearsal of the first fight. I thought it was funnier. Something in him just wanted to slit the guy's throat. I told myself that if he spends his nights chasing criminals, it is impossible that he does not take pleasure in it. He suffers, and it is a desire that overwhelms him. And by dint of knocking, his mind clears, he calms down, he reaches a state close to plenitude. I'm sure in this first fight, he manages to convince himself that every guy in front of him is the one who killed his mother. And so that allows him to vent all his rage. The interesting thing is that this Batman practically lives in the gutter. He is nowhere at home except on the street when he is wearing the suit. He lives a criminal life, but without committing crimes. I felt like I could get something out of that. Anyway, I could only play a superhero if he was really dirty. We have got no idea if the Batman will see the costumed crime fighter kill anyone indirectly or otherwise, but it's nonetheless curious to hear Pattinson's thoughts on one of the most hotly debated aspects of the comic book icon's personality. Netflix's new war movie is a global smash hit. Viewership numbers are the barometer on which Netflix's success is judged, which presents an interesting question in regards to the platform's latest original feature, one that scored an impressive first weekend without troubling the #1 spot in many countries. Based on the novel of the same name by Robert Harris, Munich, The Edge of War takes place in 1938, with Europe on the brink of conflict as Hitler prepares to invade Czechoslovakia. George Mackay stars as a British civil servant sent to the titular city to attend an emergency conference, but political trickery threatens to derail the prospective peace talks entirely. As per Flix Patrol, Munich, The Edge of War has topped the Netflix most watched charts in a solitary country since debuting on Friday, which is unsurprisingly the United Kingdom. However, it secured a top 10 placing in an additional 68 nations, so the drama is evidently proving to be hugely popular, despite failing to reach the summit anywhere other than the UK. An 84% Rotten Tomatoes score and 78% user rating should keep it at the forefront of the streaming conversation for at least a few more days, but it's hard to tell at this point whether or not Munich, The Edge of War will be able to maintain the current levels of visibility into next week and beyond. Okay, stay tuned to our channel. I will be providing you with up-to-date reliable movie news. Enjoy.